Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good day, good people. I believe that most of you guys have ever conducted a presentation in front of many people. It could be inside the classroom, it could be in a public, it could be doing a campaign, debate, or anything, right? And one thing similar from those presentations is that there must be a Q&A session, questions and answer sessions, where the audience can ask anything about the topic that we have and we need to answer. What do you feel during that session? So sometimes we feel like, okay, please don't ask me anything. Please just move away. Please just stop right here and many things, right? Well, actually, that is wrong. Okay, because after our speech, where there is Q&A session and no one is asking us question, then there will be a big question to us as a speaker. First, whether we are boring so that no one focused on our speech, that they feel like I don't have anything to ask. Or second, we were not clear enough in delivering the materials. That's why we have to be proud if there is a question from the audience regarding to our topic, because it means at least they pay attention and they want to know more. Okay, right. That's why in this very special video, I'm going to talk about how to handle Q&A session after the speech that we deliver. Try to focus and please type your comments or your questions on the comment section here, and we can discuss further after this video. So, number one, sometimes we feel like this. We have this kind of face, but we were just not aware of it, right? We feel like really nervous. We just expect that, please, no one would ask, no one would ask, but I told you that is wrong, okay? Several things to consider in Q&A session. First, questions are our friends. Why? Like I told you before, if someone is paying attention to us, they will likely provide questions to the speaker. Why? Even if they pay attention and they feel clear enough, they will feel that they want to engage to the topic more. That's why they try to share their opinion or their experience or their questions to us as the audience to the speaker. In the other hand, if they feel that we are boring, the topic is not interesting, the verbal communication and the non-verbal communication is not interesting enough to the audience, then they feel like, okay, I want this to finish soon as well. That's why we are standing there, right? I mean, that is really useless. That's why questions are really our friends. Be proud if someone is asking us questions. Number two, prime the pump. What is prime the pump? Does anyone know what prime the pump is? So prime the pump is like on how we can give a hook to the audience. Sometimes we have tried our best to deliver the speech, but still no one asks questions. When we say any questions, then no one raises their hand. So we can do this kind of things, prime the pump. So in prime the pump, it's like we do ask ourselves questions, and then we answer it by ourselves, and then as an expectation that they would ask questions that perhaps would be similar to the question that we give to ourselves. This is the example. You say any questions, and then you wait for around 5 seconds. Okay, you ask again any questions, again, but no one. You can do the prime the pump by saying, perhaps you have a question regarding to my second topic about the new normal in Indonesia. I believe that this is blah 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 blah. So you try to ask yourself a questions, but and then you answer it by yourself as well. What is the function? First, you give a hook. The audience will think perhaps that, well, I have a question, but I'm afraid that the question will be so silly. Okay, so that by asking yourself a questions, it will open the audience minds that, oh, actually that kind of question is okay. First, so it's like every question, as long as it is related to the topic, will be accepted, so that it would create, like an expectation for us as a speaker to the audience that they would ask the question. Number two, prime the pump is like to stimulate the audience. Oh yeah, I think I have the question that is related to that. Okay, so like by giving this kind of stimulation, it will give more opportunity to the audience to think about the question. All right. Can you imagine without prime the pump, without doing that, it will be so awkward because you say any questions and then you keep silent, the audience keeps silent, and then you should like fight it. Seems it's like you fight each other because both of you keep silent, right? So by using prime the pump, it's like open more discussions, the possible discussion. Priming the pump could be done for about twice. If you did it twice and then still no one asks questions, then we can directly close the speech that we have. Okay, so that's number two, prime the pump. Remember that kind of term. Number three, I don't know, but well, you can guess. So I don't know is like the answer, the worst answer as a speaker. But it's okay to say that instead of lying. If we, in the worst case, do not really understand or really do not understand about the answer, like we just don't know the answer for some reasons, okay, the question is too sophisticated, for example, that instead of lying, we can say, I don't know. Yeah, we can say, like, for example, I'm not sure. When you say I'm not sure, it means that you still know the answer. But if you do not know at all, like you have no idea, you can say, I don't know. One thing for sure, in saying I don't know, it could be only done once. I mean, because if we do that more than once, it only shows that we are unprepared speaker. Okay, that's the first. Number two, promise them something by saying but. This one, I don't know, but, right? So by saying but, it's like you try to give them promise. You can say I don't know, but I'll try to find the answer of your questions, and then we can discuss it outside of this forum. So like you promise them that you will say or you will answer their questions outside of this forum. It used to happen to me and my friends when we attended a seminar or conference at that time. So the speaker was from the Philippines. And then when my friend asked the questions, and then the speaker could not answer at that time. Yeah. And then the speaker said, oh, I'm sorry, I don't really know about that, but I'll try to find your answer when I get back to the Philippines, and I will send you the emails. And then it's correct. So around a day or 2 days after her departures to the Philippines, then the speaker texted my friend through emails, and the speaker answered everything of the questions very clearly. Okay, so you can say I don't know, but try to promise them something. Next, be careful of hostile questions. We have discussed hostile audience in the previous discussion, right? So hostile questions usually comes from hostile audience when the purpose of the question is not to find out the answer, but they try to let us down. They want to, like really make us shy in front of people, and they want to let us down in front of many people. If the question is really not related to your topic, it is really your right to say, well, I'm afraid that it's outside of my topic, that I don't have any capacity to answer the questions. It's okay, but you have to make sure that the question is really not related. Okay, that's to handle hostile questions. But that's not enough. After saying that, oh, I think that is not related to my topic, and then you have to explain, so what your topic is actually about. My topic is about this. For example, you talk about the free trade in Asia, but the discussion is about free trade in another places, right? In other places. So you can say that, I'm afraid that I don't have any capacity in talking about that because my topic is related to the free trade in Asia. And then you explain blah, 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 blah. All right. Yes, that's hostile questions. And even if your audience would like to be angry or would like to make you angry, as a speaker, we should not, like follow their mood. Okay, we cannot just become angry as well. Yeah, so keep calm, because as a speaker, we need to make sure that our mood is the same from the beginning until the end of the speech. All right. Yes. So next discussion is that be prepared. In answering or in Q&A session, one thing for sure is that be prepared. How to be prepared, ladies and gentlemen? Be prepared is two things. First, we prepare for the materials, like we remember the topic, we remember the content. But second, in preparing to the questions, we need to list the possible questions that would be asked by the audience. Try to list so that you can expect what kind of answer you are going to give in the questions. Okay, so that is be prepared. Not only remembering your speech, remembering our content, but list the possible questions. Number two is stay in control. Yeah, so stay in control is like nervous is okay because that is human, but do not let the nervousness controls you because you will forget everything. Try to stay calm, try to remember the content that you have, try to relate with the facts that you have, and then answer the questions. Check the answer. Check the answer is to the audience, not check the answer to the phone or to the book that you have. No. Check the answer is like make sure that your answer is, what has been expected by the audience by saying, is that answering your questions? Uh, is my answer enough to answer your questions? Right? So check the answer to the audience. Ending the session. If you think that the Q&A session is enough, then you can say, oh, I think that's all. I'm so sorry that the time is up. Further questions can be discussed outside of this forum. Yeah, something like that. Response. Yeah, the adequate response that I'm going to discuss here is that when we do not really understand about the question, first we can say, I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said. Okay. Do not say ha 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 ha. Like for example, someone asks you a question and then you say, huh? Huh? Because you simply did not hear. That is so embarrassing, so awkward, and so annoying. Okay. Avoid saying that. So you can say, I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said. Or simply, sorry. Okay. Number two, could you repeat your question, please? Yeah, because we do not really understand the questions. Could you repeat the question, please? Number three, I don't quite see what you mean. It's like sometimes we have a different hat and we have different point of view. I remember asking in a conference, not in a seminar at that time. The seminar is about a women empowerment, and then my question is regarding to feminism. So then I asked, "What do you think about feminism, ma'am?" The speaker was from USA, and then she said, "I don't see what you mean. Is it about woman empowerment?" And I see that facial expression, and then I say, "Oh yes, I'm so sorry. I mean woman empowerment." I don't know why, because sometimes we have different mindset or we have different hat, like I told you before. The meaning that we have sometimes can be accepted differently by the people. That's why if we think that the question is a bit offensive or not really clear, we can use these three things to make sure that the question that they expect is the same as what we accepted. Okay, all right. And then for the questions, ladies and gentlemen, you have two ways. First is that one questions and then you will directly answer that. Okay, so one question finish and then you directly answer it. Or you collect the questions. For example, okay, I will accept three questions first and then I will answer directly. It's okay. But make sure if you collect the questions, take note. Okay, oh, question number one, question number two, and question number three. Because if you collect the questions and then for after question number three, you say, okay, I'm going to answer question number one. And then you ask again, what was question number one? That is so embarrassing moment, another embarrassing moment. Why? Because, yeah, so what's the function that the speaker, that the audience speak again, right? So we as a speaker should be well prepared. If we try to collect, then make sure we take note. Okay, right? For the interruption, the function of the outline of our speech is actually to avoid the interruption, right? Because sometimes that in the middle of our speech or our presentation, there will be someone who directly like raising their hand or having a disagree opinion. Yeah, keep calm, because if you have the outline in the beginning by saying that the questions and any kinds of opinion will be accepted in the end of the speech, then you can say that, I'm so sorry, sir, that your question will be accepted in a Q&A session. All right. And remember, stay cool and elegant, even if there is an interruption. All right. Because as a speaker, once again, we need to make our mood balance. All right. We cannot just show our emotion to the, those kind of hostile audience with the hostile questions. Right. thanking the audience by saying thank you for the questions, but do not say that very often because there are three questions, and then you say, oh, that's a good question. And the second question, that's a good question. What do you expect for the third question? That's a good question as well. That is so boring and so annoying, right? So you decide saying that's a good question. You can say like, I've been anticipating for that questions, all right? And then I've been waiting for your questions. I know it would come. I know that the question would I know that the question would raise up, right? So something like that. So you can say those kind of things instead of saying that's a good question. That's a good question. That is so boring. Okay, right. And then appreciate the questions because no matter how bad the question is, as a speaker, one thing on our mind is that there is no such a thing called silly question. All right, we have to appreciate the questions. Smile and then appreciate the questions. Like, yeah, I've been waiting for that questions, like thanking the audience before. You know, like we cannot say when someone asks a questions and then we say, oh, what kind of question is that? That's a very bad questions. Of course, that is really forbidden. Okay, as a speaker, right? That's a very bad thing that we cannot say that. And then repeat an answer. So your questions is about this. Is it correct? And then when they said yes, you can say, so let me try to answer. Yeah, just to make sure that the question is right. Like the response before the adequate response. Yeah, sometimes we need to repeat the questions before the end before answering, and then after repeating and making sure the confirmation, then we can answer the questions. All right. So that is all regarding handling the Q&A session. Once again, we have to be proud. We have to be happy if someone asks questions after our speech. It means that they would like to show their engagement, and it means that we are interesting enough for them to see and to ask questions. The topic that we have perhaps interesting enough for them. So that's why change our mind that the question is really our best friend. Share your thought here in the comments. Don't forget like and subscribe and ask me anything. I'll be so happy to answer your questions and your opinion. My name is Patria Handuk Jaya. Have a great day and see ya.